CNBCTV18.com, AMD Present Adapt and Innovate.
Hello and welcome to CNBCTV18.com and AMD Present Adapt and Innovate, Futureproof Your Enterprise. I'm your host, Ridhima Bhatnagar. Adopting new technologies and innovations allows enterprises to stay ahead of the competition and adapt to changing market demands and consumer needs. Innovative digital technologies and infrastructure that can streamline operations, automate processes, and enhance productivity, and thereby enable enterprise to become more efficient. For some background, AMD is a global semiconductor company known for its innovative processors and graphic solutions. Founded in 1969, AMD has established itself as a key player in the computing space and designs microprocessors, motherboard chipsets, embedded processors, and graphic processing units or GPUs for various applications. In today's leadership series, we dive deep into cutting-edge technologies transforming how enterprise compete, from AI-powered operations to seamless automation that unleashes human potential. So what do we have lined up for you? Well, in today's episode, we will shine the spotlight on Ishan Technologies, a leading ICT group that has grown into becoming a prominent national enterprise with a strong pan-India presence at over 100 locations. So today, we're delighted to welcome Dr. Keyur Jathal, Director and CMO of Ishan Technologies, who in fact will share insights on the company's digital transformation journey and how strategic technology partnerships with organizations like AMD are enhancing their operational efficiency and market competitiveness. So thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us, and welcome.
Thank you.
So before we get down to the brass tacks, let's talk a little about you so that we understand what has been your role so far. How are you liking your function at Ishan Technologies? So tell us a little more about your role, your function, and a little more context of what Ishan Technologies is into.
A very good evening to you, Ridhima, and thanks for the opportunity. What I do is that at Ishan Technologies, I drive the business development function and the marketing aspects of the group. And I work alongside the founders, Pinkesh and Purvi Kotecha, who started the venture in 2000. So this is our 25th year of existence.
How lovely.
Yeah. And at Ishan Technologies, what we delve in is that we provide digital infrastructure platforms, which are the backbone of digital aspirations for our customers. So yes, that's a pretty exciting space to be in.
So when we speak about digital transformation and digital infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us a little about the role of, changing digital infrastructure and more importantly, the digital transformation and how Ishan Technologies in particular has managed to stay ahead of the curve as well.
That is a pretty interesting question. I'm glad that you asked it because at Ishan, over the last 25 years, we have been asking this question to ourselves and we have been introspecting every couple of years because without which, if you're not paranoid about the changes which are happening today, you tend to become obsolete. So in order to stay relevant, in order to redefine your USPs, in order to re-engineer your service delivery platforms, we have to continuously, do this process. So last 3 to 4 years have been pretty interesting because we've gone through transformations, let me use that word.
Sure.
Transformations on 3 aspects. One is, what is it that we should sell in order to be relevant?
Sure.
How should we deliver these offerings to the market? And for that, what is the investment that we should do in terms of people and teams? So if I could delve a bit deeper onto that aspect, 3 years back, because we are in the 3rd decade of our existence, so we are looking at retooling ourselves, realigning ourselves to the market realities. COVID, all of us know, with all the negatives, had got a silver lining. A lot of organizations expedited their digital adoption, which meant that people like us, vendors in the IT ecosystem, had to crash our learning curves during that time. And digital first as a theme emerged.
Yeah.
What do we mean by digital first? People from the IT fraternity would know about what is it that I'm talking about. But in layman terms, we have to be where our customers are.
Sure.
Right? You and me, we are mostly online.
So we live our lives online.
Exactly. So if I'm not online today, I'm not in front of my customer, and that is where I lose out. which is where that was a trigger for digital first organizations. Now, for the CIO office, which happens to be our target segment, adopting the digital first approach meant that they have to talk to a lot of service providers. To start with, they have to talk to the bandwidth provider, then their systems integration company, then they would need to engage with cloud firms, and after having done all these things, they would need to ensure the cybersecurity aspect as well.
Absolutely.
Which meant that the CIO office did not have a very enviable KRA KPI. They had to orchestrate service level agreements across these 4 to 5 entities. In fact, there are more than that because product entities and service provider entities. So all in all, more than 10, 12 entities.
Sure.
Now, which is where we asked ourselves a question that can we step in here and can we make that role a bit simpler by providing multiple offerings focused obviously on the digital infrastructure and have a consolidated service level contract for the CIO, which is where we went back to the drawing board. We said that, okay, we have got these two primary companies, two focused areas of business. One is where we are ISP, where we are Class A ISP, which is where we've got customers pan-India who are being serviced through the 100 offices that you just mentioned during the introduction. And the second line of business was the systems integration part, wherein we were into data networks and data center solutions.
Wonderful. Every time we speak about a company's vision going forward, it's never one organization that can do it solely alone. It's also the partners that join you on that journey, right? And of course, AMD becomes that one big partner for you. So I want to first just understand how has that partnership and journey been, and more specifically, how has this partnership with AMD helped Ishan Technologies as far as its own growth chapter is concerned?
Great. So, see, we are a service provider.
True.
Correct. So for any service provider, it is important to tie up with product companies. So Ishan plays a role at the edge of the IT infrastructure.
Okay.
And then we talk about cloud, which is where this critical partnership with AMD comes in. Because the tier 3 data center that we have created using our in-house skill sets, and it is at the prime location of Andheri East in Mumbai. The core of that data center is AMD. Correct? Because for any data center provider, the CPU technology and the ecosystem around it is the crux.
True.
Because that is what is the driving factor behind success or the lack of it.
Lovely. I quickly also want to understand, every time we speak about evolution of technology, one speaks about the potential and the opportunity it has, but the other end of the spectrum is there are challenges as well. So I want to understand, how does this partnership with AMD, with Ishan Technologies also help you overcome these modern technology challenges, as we call them?
Sure. So just borrowing a term called modern technology, the modern workloads, let us put it that way, are obviously AI. That's the modern workload which customers want to evaluate. High performance computing. We are present in higher education as a segment. High performance computing is an area of interest of certain corporates as well as certain education customers. And virtualization. That is the third aspect of the workload. So while we were evaluating the partners with whom we would engage for our data center business, we looked at these, we started with these target workloads. And then we went around exploring which are the best technologies which would match the performance requirements of these workloads. Correct? Which is where we found AMD to be suitable. Firstly, on the technical aspect. Secondly, on their roadmap. So AMD today, apart from certain other companies, has got the roadmap to AI. So that is what gave us an assurance and a comfort that this is a good partner to go with on day one, but a good partner to stay with in terms of day 2 requirements as well. Right? Now, that is with respect to technology, but the partnerships are between people, correct?
Absolutely.
So from a people-to-people engagement perspective, we found it comfortable to engage with the pre-sales teams at AMD. They could get our language. They actually co-created certain BOQs with our technology team members. in tune with the targeted workloads that we had.
Okay.
So that ensured that we are in production on day one itself.
Okay.
So these were the technology aspects, and the people-related aspects, sort of favored AMD, there.
That's good to know. It's always good to know if both partners have the same vision going forward, right?
Yes.
I also want to then understand, because you said that the partnership has played so well so far, so good, right?
True.
So if you could just give us, for viewers, and this is out of curiosity's sake, before and after in that sense, before the partnership and after the partnership, more specifically, post the partnership, are there certain checks and balances or parameters, I would say, that you have in mind as a data center provider?
Interesting. So since this was a greenfield project,
Yeah.
the before part may not be relevant because we started off with AMD. But
Sure.
let me take you through, certain
Post then.
certain decision making, triggers, if I can use
Sure.
that word. And then what are the benefits that we expect from the AMD platform? Now, when we looked at AMD, certain clear benefits
Yeah.
came out of their technology around EPYC. They call it EPIC technology when it comes to CPUs. So it offers multiple cores per socket. Now, multiple cores per socket, if you visualize, it tells you that it is good for compute density, which means that within a given space, you can run more number of workloads
Okay.
because of more number of cores,
Okay.
CPU cores. So this was a clear advantage.
Okay.
The other advantage was the memory architecture. Now, they had, if I'm not wrong, 8-channel DDR5 memory. So people
Okay.
from the IT fraternity would understand the benefit. This memory is better when you want to access data at faster speeds.
Okay.
So if you've got low latency workloads, then this architecture helps you. And then one more benefit, which is more towards lowering TCO and power efficiency, is the 5 nanometer or 7 nanometer architecture,
Okay.
which AMD has.
Okay.
Now, because of which the performance per watt kind of a parameter, which is a very important parameter for people evaluating technologies for the data center, it scores well. It is because of these parameters that we find AMD more favorable.
Oh, lovely. I want to end the conversation with something that no conversation today is possible without mentioning the word AI. So
Cool.
I want to understand, what do you think about the role of AI as far as cloud adoption is concerned? And what do you see the role of it? Do you see a lot of changes going forward as well?
Oh, yes. So the way in which I like to put it is that AI will be the trigger for all of us to adopt cloud
Okay.
at even a higher degree than we are doing it right now. So yes, AI is here to stay, and 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line, we would not be able to stay without AI.
Sure.
Even for our routine activities.
Well, I agree with that. AI is here to stay. Dr. Keyur, this has been such a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for this very sharp and insightful but rather candid conversation as
Thank you.
well. Well, that's it on CNBC-TV18.com and AMD Present Adapt and Innovate, Future-Proof Your Enterprises. A big thank you to our viewers for tuning in. Till next time, this is your host, Ridhima Bhatnagar, signing off.
CNBC TV18.com, AMD Present, Adapt and Innovate.